You are welcome to yet another episode of HN What's Your Say? The #1 listening show, where we discuss real issues with real people like you. We are still featuring R. Kelly. Real name Robert Sylvester Kelly. Also known as the R&B King. The American justice system has been time and again failing the test of whether they are able to serve justice to citizens irrespective of their ethnic or racial backgrounds, and to the rest of the world after this nation ordained itself the lookout for all other nations in the world. Ignoring the international politics and focusing on the primary responsibility of the United States Department of Justice, which is to ensure that every citizen young and old is guaranteed justice as the basic right, the U.S. government has failed repetitively, and more so when the intended beneficiaries happen to be of black race. Over the years now, we have learned that as a black man or woman in this country, one is not guaranteed fairness or justice at all, especially if you happen to be a successful figure in society or celebrity. The history of black celebrity trials shows a pattern of racial prejudice, one that assumes simply because the defendant is black, they must be guilty for the alleged crimes even if the evidence suggests otherwise. It is rather absurd that even after decades of legal reforms and transformation, the injustice is still eminent, and primitive as it may sound, the government remains at the forefront of this systemic discrimination along racial lines. With a terrifying history of the American government hunting down Japanese Americans after the Japanese invasion like they were all conspirators only because they were of Japanese descent, not forgetting the American record of practicing illegal slave trade which saw thousands of black Africans kidnapped from their homelands and forced to work day and night on American farms, it's rather ugly to learn that this barbaric approach to governance still exists in this our country. A system where a certain group of people believe they are more superior than the others, and will therefore do all in their power to prove and maintain the superiority, in the process hatching a form of unpleasant imperialism. In R. Kelly's case, one may argue that this is an attempt by white America to protect black American women. What they forget, however, is that we know there are many white individuals and celebrities who do despicable things to black citizenry, but these are never punished for it's considered acceptable. Why would they specifically be as interested when it's a black celebrity in the defense seat, and why should we even believe that the same people who enslaved our forefathers now care so much about our women, simply because they are taking down our icons of success, which is exactly the agenda? As if kidnapping and forced labor were not enough, the evil act of slave trade saw the same women they claim to now love so much and want to protect raped and abused in many despicable ways. The oppressor, however, now wants us to believe that he cares so much by again depriving our descendants their rightful inheritances, and splitting the wealth among a few greedy women in the name of justice. This is not any different from a thief attacking your home in the night and taking out your father, then claiming to love and protect the same daughters he raped during the attack only because he has stayed in your house a few hours and familiarized with them. At the rise of this injustice in the U.S. Department of Justice, the oppressors were still open about it and saw no reason to pretend, as in what we saw happen to Jack Johnson, who was equally wrongfully convicted using the very same Mann Act, but this time claiming he was illegally involved with white American women, having eloped with one of them to another state with full consent as an adult woman. Gone are the days when the oppressor would openly break the laws to launch at successful black men. Now they hide behind the idea that they be protecting our own black women, and this excuse they use to further sabotage our own economic development. We once mentioned that when our successful black people are imprisoned or killed and their hard-earned wealth distributed among such women like was done to R. Kelly's ex-girlfriends, the opportunity of African Americans passing down generational wealth is shuttered, and this caps our economic contributions and therefore our influence in the running of this country. There is no doubt R. Kelly was judged with malice and prejudice, all aimed at taking down a successful black man, and denying him the opportunity to pass down his wealth to his descendants, which is exactly what the oppressor is afraid of. This is the same reason why many black people are rotting in U.S. prisons with little or no hope of ever breaking free from the bondage. However, the U.S. justice system is shameless enough to continue using the very same laws that were used as early as 1912 against our people, only for the verdicts to be later on disqualified as products of a meaningless racial war at a time when the likes of Jack Johnson are no longer alive to be given their life back. It's therefore quite difficult to understand why the very same government would repeat the same mistake, maintaining such abusable vague laws that were misused as early as 1912. Looking at the way the case against R. Kelly has been handled, though, is proof enough that the US government lacks the political will to fight systemic racism. The case was largely fraudulent, starting with the indictment, which saw irrelevant charges introduced against him. Charges that the government even failed to prove in court. We still don't understand how the RICO accusations managed to hold even after the government failed to prove the existence of a criminal enterprise. Almost all charges were inappropriate, considering even the Mann Act was not backed with any evidence of interstate trafficking. The judges, however, ignored the requirement that the purpose of travel be to commit crime in the destination state if the Mann Act must hold. In any case, the U.S. justice system has been greatly shaken and has failed the test of authenticity presented by the case against R. Kelly. According to Lisa McRae, what really hurts is the fact that there isn't much we can do about all this discriminative and prejudicial behavior. To them, we are like game in the park with which they can do as they please. It's sad to note that these tyrants are actually doing this on purpose, and their level of conspiracy is more than wicked. They have technically set a precedence of corruption, announcing that women can always come forth with cries and lies pretending they were abused so they can extort millions of dollars from our celebrities. The question remains, where will this end, as this can ruin the entire justice system? Who will have the courage to take on this corrupt and sectarian government which is not willing to punish officials who commit crime while struggling to destroy careers and lives? As proof of a lack of political will to fight crime and corruption, nothing has been done to Judge Donnelly for wrongfully garnishing R. Kelly's commissary. Nothing is being done to Alice Clary, even with the text message evidence exposing her. And likewise, nothing is being done to the BOP officers and Tasha K, who leaked R. Kelly's prison calls and email records. It looks like we are all a breath away from being determined guilty of something simply because of the way we look. The US government has never been exposed as much, and it's a shame. If you wish to take part in a live interview on this channel discussing any of these topics, let us know by emailing us on sashahnnewsroom@gmail.com for scheduling. That is all we had for you today on HN What's Your Say? To keep updated whenever we post a new video, subscribe to this channel now. Also remember to hit the bell icon and enable notifications. And feel free to share your opinions with us in the comment section below, and let us know if you would like us to publish your views in our next release. We value all our subscribers' opinions.